Here we have some Laetiporus Sulphureus, also known as chicken of the woods. I spotted this yesterday and I figured I'd get out here today and take a look, and just perfect condition for harvesting. It's actually my first mushroom that I'm harvesting ever from the wild. So after doing some research last night, seems like one of the key parts, and I'll show you from some of the ones that we've harvested. When you look at the underside, you want to make sure it doesn't have any gills and that there are thousands of tiny little pores. And this is one of the mushrooms that's very, very difficult to misidentify. However, you cannot eat this undercooked or raw, so it will require it needs to be thoroughly cooked or you'll have some gastro issues. We'll get up close. If you do spot them, you want to make sure there's no discoloration. And the first, I think, 2 or 3 inches are the softest, and as it gets bigger and bigger, the chitin, I believe, builds up in there, making them a bit tougher, but still edible for soups and stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and get harvesting. And there's one more tree further down. I think you might be so easy to spot from the distance. It's very hard to miss them. And it usually occurs in the DMV region around late September, October. You'll start spotting them, but you don't want to wait too long, because other wildlife or somebody else will harvest them before you. There were some of the ones I harvested here, you could tell some of them had some bites, so I did leave those ones on the trees. You don't want to pull the whole thing off. I think you just want to cut from the front. So we'll get started. And this is why sometimes you have to be very, very careful when harvesting mushrooms. So from the distance, at first I thought, this day can't get many more lucky if I find chanterelles. I was reading about that last night, and then I was like, maybe these are jack-o'-lanterns. And upon inspecting the bottom, while you were harvesting your chicken of the woods, I'll show you the difference between the underside. So on the surface, that's Laetiporus Sulphureus, and that's jack-o'-lantern. You see a color difference, plus the underside of both of them. This has no gills, has pores, where this has gills. Very poisonous, will definitely make you sick for quite a few days. I believe if this was chanterelles, it would have been smoother on the bottom. But do your research. And there's a lot of these grow right here in large clusters. There. So here we have our washed chicken of the woods, or Laetiporus Sulphureus mushrooms. What we're gonna do is just cut them in slices. And this back part, we're just gonna save that for soups. That's gonna be the hardier section of the mushroom and can have a bit of a chew to it. So, smells pretty good. So just for our first try, we're gonna just saute them, pan-sear them in butter and with some salt and pepper, just to see how we like it before we start incorporating them in other foods. And for the rest, we might dehydrate a bunch. But yeah, this is how we're going to go about using them in our food. So, and then any spots that you don't feel comfortable about, like there's a little hole on this one, we're just gonna nick that out. Don't take risks. It's got a little bit of spotting, which is probably fine, but It's also soup. So harder. This is a little bit, the tips feel a little soft, so I'm just gonna cut that out. So here we have that. Saute them in butter. A little bit of salt. Some black pepper. We got some pink Himalayan salt. We can paprika or just keep it simple. So we've been pan searing them, and I've added water in there twice just to make sure we steam them, pan seared them, and we just done them in butter. So we're going to take some out and try them in a little bit. Moment of truth. This one piece looks pretty well cooked, so we'll go ahead and give it a shot. Wow, it does taste a little bit like chicken. I like it. It's good. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to dehydrate a bunch of them. I'm just breaking them apart into strips for the dehydrator, where we're going to go for at approximately we're going to go at 115 Fahrenheit for about 10 hours. And so when we harvested them, you want to make sure there's no discoloration. Tips are good. Any part that has discoloration, you want to discard that, or might have weird vines going through it. We left those ones. We did not harvest. A couple that were closer to the ground. That vegetation had kind of grown into and around. So we got some pretty big and nice clusters of this dead oak tree. So we'll show you what that looks like in about 10 hours. So here's the last tray of the 10. We have this LEM dehydrator that we're very happy with. And here we go. We've got 10 trays, all full. Like, oh, this is a nice one. And so we're gonna let it go, let it run. So we're gonna set it to 115 for 10 hours. And now we set it and forget it. So let's check to see if these are done. We actually went for at least 14 hours. Let me get this one. Alright, let's do the snap test. This is interesting. After they're dehydrated, those pores on the back, they've kind of changed in color a bit. So now they're far more visible, the fine pores. But this fully dehydrated. Yep. It's just fine pores. Once it dries up, there you can see the holes in it. If you look from the side, no, you will need to look under that light.